morning, guys. Today is Thursday, July 23rd. Moving right along here through July. Before you know it, it will be August, which is crazy. So today's practice is going to be slightly different. It's going to be more of a Yin Yoga practice. And for those of you who don't know what Yin Yoga is not doing as many poses and doing them for longer periods of time and not going as deep. So those are kind of the three things. So it's fewer poses, holding them longer, not going as deep. So for today's class, we're doing like 5 poses, the whole class, but we're holding them longer. And all our poses today are going to focus on the hips and pelvis and creating space. So again, keep that in mind when you're practicing today. You're not trying to go as deep because you're holding it longer. So if you go to your full extreme or your full extent of the pose that you're used to doing, you're not going to be able to hold it as long because you're going to be getting uncomfortable. And that's not what we're going for today. We're going for maybe 70% of what you actually do normally. So that way you can hold it longer and you'll see how it creates space in a different kind of way in your body. So you're going to need a mat or a space on the floor. I have 2 blankets here, but if you have a few towels, if you don't have blankets, I would grab a few towels, and it's just to help you stay a little bit more comfortable in the poses. I also have 2 blocks here. But again, if you don't have blocks, you can grab like bags of sugar or flour and use them, or grab a few extra towels. So maybe instead of 2 towels, grab 4 towels. You have like 2 to be your blankets and 2 to be your blocks. So we're going to start off sitting nice and tall. Bring your eyes to close and let the outside world go. Bring your awareness to your breath. And so my quote today kind of goes along with our style of class today. It says, when you accept yourself for who you are and work with what you've got, you couldn't be more beautiful. When you accept yourself for who you are and work with what you've got, you couldn't be more beautiful. And I think that's what this class is about. We're not trying to be the best. We're not trying to go to full extreme. We're trying to like soften in our poses and appreciate what we have right now, who we are right now, what we can do in a pose right now. And that translates into life, right? We're always trying to be better, do more, whatever. But some days we have to like take the time to appreciate, okay, this is where I'm at today. Today I don't feel like I can run a marathon, and that's okay. Today I may sit on the patio and just observe nature, and that's beautiful too. So accept who we are, what we are, work with what we've got. And that's when our true beauty really comes out. Take a couple more breaths here. And then gently blink your eyes to open. Inhale, reach those arms out and up. Exhale them down to your heart. And again, inhale, reach out and up. Exhale them on down. And one more time, inhale, reach out and up. Exhale your heart, hands down to your heart. Close your eyes. Set your intention for today's practice. Gently blink your eyes to open. Release the hands. And so today we're going to start off, which you guys are going to probably think like, Kimmy, what are you doing? We're going to start off in a wide-legged pose. And again, remember here, we are not going for our fullest seated wide angle pose. That's not what we're doing. We want to go for about 70% of that because we're going to be holding this pose for a longer period of time. So in order to be able to hold it, you got to ease off a little bit at first. So sit with your legs in a wide stance, not your widest stance again. And then lean forward a little bit and you're just going to lift the fat up on your left cheek and lift it up and back and place it down and then do the same thing on the right. So lift the fat up on your right cheek, up and back and then lower it down. So now you're sitting on the bottom of your bottom. So your sit bones, you should really feel them pressing into the earth now. So we're just going to sit here nice and tall. Sit tall. And if this is uncomfortable, like if you find yourself, you've got to lean forward and you can't sit tall, grab one of your blankets and you will just lift your hips up and tuck your hips onto that blanket. It just raises your hips up a little bit so you can sit tall. If you need 2 blankets, raise them up on 2 blankets. Whatever feels good for you, that's what the blankets or towels are here for us for today, to just make the poses a little bit, again, you're only doing 70%, but also you want to be comfortable in the pose. So once you get your blanket situated under your sacrum, just like kind of wiggle your legs out a little bit. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Like shake those feet because you want the feet and the legs to be relaxed. It's not, again, like you're activating the legs all the way down. We're being relaxed in these poses. So you're sitting tall and you're just going to walk your hands to frame that right leg. So you're adding the twist into this pose. It's not, again, it's not your deepest twist where you're cranking all the way around. It's just angling your torso over that right leg. You're framing that right leg with your hands. And again, just sit here and breathe. And obviously, of course, at any time, if the duration of the pose holding is too long for you, you always can come out of it or lessen the pose. The other thing I'll say about doing a yin class is coming out of the pose needs to be slow. Don't just be in a pose and be like, I'm going right back to where I was. When you're holding something longer, you really gotta mindfully twist, untwist out of it, or come out of the pose. So you're still just twisting. If you think you can keep the same nice tall posture with the twist and you want to add something a little bit more, you can take your left hand and place it to the outside of that right thigh. So it deepens the twist a little bit, but nothing too crazy again. Another thing that's important about doing Yin Yoga is you're just trying to soften in the pose. Again, that's why you don't do your full extent of the pose, but you really want to soften. So you want to soften all the muscles when you're working with the pose. So you're Your legs are trying to be soft right now. The muscles around your spine, you're twisting, are trying to be soft right now. Your side body, because you're twisting, try and soften those muscles. And just breathe into those spaces. Here for about 3 to 5 more breaths. And on your next exhale, slowly, slowly, slowly begin to untwist to center. You can just stay seated here nice and tall, or if you want to relax a little bit more, take your hands behind you. Whoop. And just lean back. If you want to wiggle your legs a little bit, just to give them some relief too. This actually feels really good when you lean back, so I encourage you to do a lean back. And then when you're ready, you're going to come back up again. Remember, you're keeping your legs where they're at about 70% of your full extension. You're sitting tall. If you need to be on the blanket still, great. If not, that's great too. So go ahead and sit here nice and tall. And then when you're ready, slowly walk those hands to frame that left leg this time, twisting the body to the left. Again, we're not cranking the spine. We're just trying to line the torso up with the left leg. We're not looking over the shoulder. We're looking straight at that leg. You think you want to add a little bit more. Again, this time you could take the right hand and place it to the outside of the left thigh. So it deepens the twist a little bit more, but again, nothing too crazy. We're not looking over the left shoulder. We're still just focusing on that left leg. I just added in a little bit more side body and shoulder. Maybe deepen the twist a little bit. You're still sitting nice and tall. And again, your muscles should all be nice and softened, nice and relaxed. It should be very easy to breathe in this pose. If you're finding that you're gripping your breath or your breath doesn't feel as free to move, that means you're doing too much. You gotta back off a little bit. So maybe untwist the spine a little bit or shorten the width of the legs. The breath should move freely in this practice. Again, you have about 5 more breaths here. on your next exhale, slowly begin to untwist back to center. Take your hands and arms behind you. Lean back into those arms. And again, just hang out here. You can move your legs a little bit. You can even shorten the stance a little bit more than it was. And just rock those legs side to side. Wait and flex your feet a couple times. And then come to sit back up tall. We're going to take our legs back into our straddle. Again, not our fullest extent. I know I keep saying that, but I just want to really emphasize it's not about how deep you're going in the pose. So again, if you have your blankets or towels or blocks, make sure they are in close reach to you for this next pose. So again, pull the fat up and back on one cheek and then do the same thing on the other side. So again, the sit bones are really pressing straight down into the earth. So you're sitting nice and tall. And then I just want you to walk your hands forward a smidge. Hang out there. Again, try and soften. Maybe this is all the further you go, because again, we're not trying to go all crazy, laying our torsos flat on the floor. It's to be soft in the pose, 70%. If this is where you're at and this is good enough, you can grab those blocks and blankets or whatever, and you can rest your forearms on it, you can rest your elbows on it, and just hang there. If you think you're not feeling really anything, you can take the hands a little bit further forward. Again, I don't want it to be something you're reaching all the way down for. It's 70%. So when you reach a little bit more, and it's okay to round your spine, hang out there. And again, if you want to grab the blocks and put them underneath you, because again, we want to try and be soft in the pose. Or if you want to grab your blankets, another thing you can do is you can take the blocks or the blankets and you can just stack them underneath your chest, and you can lean your chest on it. Again, 70%. We're trying to release that low back, a little bit of the glutes. This is a great pose for if you have a lot of low back pain. So when I said you're going to focus on the hips and pelvis, a lot of these poses help with that low back pain because it all feeds into each other. Just hang out wherever you're at. Again, if you find yourself gripping in the pose, gripping any part of your body, like, oh, I gotta hold that tight there, then you've gone too deep. Ease up a little bit. Shorten the stance, sit up a little taller. Because the breath should flow freely through your body. That's much more comfortable. Even if you don't, for this pose, if you don't have the blocks and blankets or towels, you can even take a folding chair and face the seat towards you and rest your arms on the seat of a folding chair. And this would work great too. So improvise and use things you have in the house. I'm going to hang out here for about another minute. So just close your eyes and breathe. Again, slowly, slowly, slowly come back up to sit tall. Take your hands behind you. Lean on back. And just enjoy this. You can rock your legs. You can shorten your stance of your legs. Wiggle the legs a little bit. And then if you had your props in front of you, go ahead and set the props off to the side. And you're going to bring your legs all the way to close. Ooh, shake them on out nice and slow. Maybe rub them on out. All the way down to those toes. And then we're going to come and lay on our backs. So just shift my props off to the side. So come and lay on your backs. Knees are bent flat on the earth. Pull both knees into the chest. And you're going to keep the right knee and extend that left leg up towards the sky. And then exhale, drop that left leg down towards the earth. So we're just getting to that hip flexor now. Inhale, slowly pull that left knee into your chest. Give those knees a little hug. Lower the feet on down. Stretch your legs long like a Shavasana leg and just observe how that left leg feels versus the right leg. And then bend those knees back up. Pull them back into your chest. Keep that left knee, extend that right leg up. And then exhale, lower that right leg down to the earth. Opening that left hip flex, or right hip flexor, I'm sorry. And on your next inhale, slowly bring that right leg back and meet the left. Lower the feet back down to the mat. Stretch those legs long again. And just observe how the legs feel. your right side. And then press your hands and come back to your seated position. And so we're going to do half pigeon now, but a couple variations for your half pigeon. So half pigeon, because again, we're not trying to do our full go getting into our half pigeon. So you can sit with your legs out straight and take the right ankle and cross it just above that left knee. If this is enough for you here, if this is your 70%, stay right here. If you think you can go a little deeper than this, take the hands back behind you and then slightly bend that left knee. Again, remember, we're holding this for a longer period of time, so we don't want to crank it all the way up. We want to do 70%. So this should be comfortable for you to sit in. It's going to end up creating the space you want. So either one of those, straight out like this or the slightly bend. Last option is if half pigeon is in your practice and you think you can go into it without doing a full gusto, you can certainly do that. So you will take your right knee to your right wrist, and then you'll stretch that left leg back. So now what I want you to do, if you're doing the half pigeon, and if your right hip is not flat on the earth, I want you to take the blanket or towel and tuck it underneath that hip. So that right hip is sitting on something. Maybe you need 2 blankets or towels. Either way, tuck it under that right hip. Then the next thing to do is, I should put my box closer, is to grab more of your towels or blocks or blankets. And you want to be able to fold onto those blocks, blankets, whatever, so you can really rest in the pose. We don't want any gripping, so that's why you want that right hip supported, you want your chest supported. And again, you don't want to go all the way flat, you want to be more up into your 70%. So whichever option of the half pigeon you wanted to choose for your hip opener, close your eyes, settle in. Make sure you're not gripping anything in your body. So if your hands are clasped together or your jaw is tight, relax all those muscles. Your breath should move freely while you're in this pose. If you start to notice it's shallow or it can't move freely, ease out of the pose a little bit. You've gone too deep. About 5 more breaths where you're at. And then if you're in half pigeon where you're leaning forward towards your chest, press your palms down and press into your hands. Slide that blanket out if you have it, and then just sit on that right hip and bring that left leg around to meet the right. Stretch those legs out long. If you were seated and had the right ankle crossed over the right knee, uncross that leg nice and slow. So everyone is sitting with their legs out straight. Take the hands back behind. And just observe how that right leg feels, that right hip, that right groin feels compared to the left. Maybe you want to rub it out a little bit too. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So if you did seated, half pigeon hip opener across that left ankle over right knee, sit tall. If you want to go a little bit deeper, take the hands back behind and you can bend that bottom leg. Again, 70%. Last option is if you want to do the half pigeon on the floor, you'll bring your left knee to your left wrist, stretch that right leg back behind you. And again, you're going to want to take the blanket or towel. If that left hip is lifted up off the floor, tuck it underneath that left hip so that the left hip has something to press down into. And then grab your other blankets, towels, blocks, and then fold on down to your degree. Again, remember, nothing should be gripping, so don't clench your hands, don't clench the jaw. You should feel like your blood's flowing freely throughout your body, and your breath is moving freely throughout your body. Take about 5 more breaths here. And if you're in a more prone position of half pigeon, come onto your hands. Gently press into those hands. Pull that left blanket or the blanket out of that left hip and dump all your weight into that left hip. Swing that right leg around. Extend the left leg out. And if you were seated and doing your half pigeon, take that left ankle, uncross it off that right knee. Stretch it out. Everybody take your hands back behind you and just lean and observe how your legs feel now. And then come back on up. And we have one more pose before we do our Shavasana. So if you have your towels or blankets, I want you to set them up and get them ready for Shavasana. So set your blocks aside. So I'm using both my blankets underneath my knees because I really want my low back to be really well rested. If you have extra blankets or towels, you can also use one underneath your head or your neck. Like I give you guys the neck roll in class. But set it up so that the blankets are ready, your legs are draping over them. So when we come out of this last pose, we lower the legs down and we're right into Shavasana. So go ahead and lay on down. And you're gonna pull both knees into your chest. And then take the knees wide. And you're just hugging them into your chest. It's not like a happy baby like this. Your knees are bent down. And just allow the natural weight of your hands as they deepen the stretch. Breathe here. Here. And then you're going to slowly let go of your knees. Extend your legs right onto those blankets. Your legs are in your Shavasana. Extend the arms away from your body, palms facing up. Let your bodies be heavy and let them soften and sink into the earth. Allow your eyes to close and just breathe. When you do a yin practice, it's a slower practice. It's not going to the fullest extent practice. It's really a softening, accepting where you are practice. So if you'd like to stay in Shavasana a little longer, just to further enhance all that, to further soften, to let yourselves go, then please do so. If you need to start getting about your day, begin to deepen your breath. Make some small movements with the fingers in the toes. Pull your legs on into your chest. Slowly roll off to your right side. Pause there. And then when you're ready, bring yourself back to a comfortable seated position. Keep your eyes closed. Bring your hands to your heart center. Thank you guys for practicing with me here today. I greatly, greatly appreciate each and every one of you, and I appreciate all your love and all your support. And remember to accept where you are, who you are, work with what you've got. That's when your true beauty, your true strength really gets to shine. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. And may your mind be at ease. Together we bow and say, Namaste. Thank you guys so much. I love and miss you all. I hope you all are doing well, staying healthy. Hopefully this heat wave is going to end a little sooner than I would really like it to end, because I'd like to be outside walking again, and it's just too hot for that right now. But it's okay. I'd rather have the heat than the snow, right guys? So happy Thursday, everybody. It's almost the weekend. I hope you have a great, great day. Hugs from me to you. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, bye.